Every single morning before the world starts throwing its chaos at you, there's a moment, a sacred window, where you decide who you're going to be. Most people wake up and let the day control them, but the most powerful people on the planet do the opposite. They set the tone. They program their minds. They speak their future into existence. The words you say to yourself every morning don't just motivate you. They shape your destiny. Your language is the blueprint for your life. When you speak with power, your brain listens. When you speak with certainty, your emotions follow. And when you do it consistently, your entire identity begins to shift. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's about conditioning your mind to win. And it starts with 10 simple but life-changing things you must tell yourself every single morning. Every morning, before anything else happens, you are given the opportunity to decide how your day will unfold. That decision begins not with your actions, but with your words. The way you speak to yourself the moment you open your eyes has the power to shape your mindset, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. Most people underestimate this. They wake up, grab their phones, scroll through negativity, and unconsciously let external forces dictate their internal state. But the truth is, language is one of the most powerful tools you possess. The words you use to describe yourself, your life, and your future become the lens through which you interpret everything that happens to you. If you start your day with language that is weak, doubtful, or negative, you are setting yourself up to experience the world in exactly that way. If you start with words that are empowering, focused, and intentional, you give yourself the emotional foundation to handle anything that comes your way. Think about it. When you tell yourself, I can't, your brain immediately goes to work finding evidence to support that belief. It shuts down possibilities. But when you say, I can and I will, your brain starts searching for strategies and pathways to make it happen. Your language triggers your emotional state, and your emotional state determines your behavior. That's why the most successful people in the world are masters of their morning language. They don't wait to see how they feel. They create the state they want to be in through powerful declarations. Your morning words are like planting seeds. If you plant weeds, you'll get a tangled mess. If you plant strong, healthy seeds, you'll get growth, strength, and clarity. The key is to understand that the language you use is not just descriptive, it's generative. It doesn't just describe your reality, it creates it. When you wake up and declare, today is going to be powerful, your nervous system shifts, your energy lifts. You start looking for opportunities rather than problems. You prime your brain to focus on solutions. This is not some fluffy motivational idea. This is neuroscience. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, responds to the commands you give it. If you say, this is going to be a stressful day, it will filter your experience to confirm that belief. If you say, this is a day where I rise, lead, and grow, it will filter to find moments that match that statement. Your words become the instructions your brain follows. This is why rituals matter. Imagine starting each day with a powerful verbal routine. Before the world distracts you, you stand up tall, breathe deeply, and say out loud the words that align with your highest self. Statements like, I am focused, I am strong, I am unstoppable. Today, I decide what kind of day I'm going to have. I lead with purpose. I bring energy and excellence to everything I do. These aren't empty phrases. They're commands to your nervous system. They're emotional triggers that activate confidence, focus, and strength. Tony Robbins often says, where focus goes, energy flows. Your morning words direct that focus. They aim your mind like a laser. Many people struggle with this because it feels unnatural at first. They say, I don't feel like it. But that's exactly the point. You don't wait to feel confident to speak powerfully. You speak powerfully to create confidence. Your physiology and language are deeply connected. Stand slouched with your head down and whisper weak phrases, and you'll feel weak. Stand tall, breathe with intensity, and speak with certainty, and your state changes in seconds. This is why athletes, performers, and leaders all use pre-performance rituals involving language. They know the power of commanding their minds before stepping into the arena. Another crucial element is consistency. Doing it once in a while won't rewire anything. Just like going to the gym once doesn't build muscle. Speaking powerfully once doesn't transform your mindset. But doing it every morning, day after day, builds a psychological foundation that becomes unshakable. Over time, those words stop feeling forced. They become who you are. The morning declarations you repeat shape your identity. And when your identity shifts, your behavior naturally follows. If every morning you tell yourself, I am a disciplined, unstoppable achiever, eventually your brain accepts it as truth. And once it's part of your identity, discipline stops being a struggle. It becomes your natural way of being. Think about the alternative. If you don't intentionally choose your morning language, the world will choose it for you. The news, social media, other people's negativity, they will all feed your mind words that program fear, doubt, and distraction. That's why your morning is sacred. It's your time to build a shield of certainty before the noise comes in. It's your time to declare who you are and how you will show up. It's your time to set the emotional thermostat for the day. When the storm hits, and it will, you'll be ready because you've already decided how you will respond. The beautiful thing is, this doesn't take hours. It can take 2 minutes of intentional language to shift your entire state. But those 2 minutes can change the trajectory of your day, your week, even your life. If you want to create a life on your terms, it starts with mastering the words you use every morning. Don't speak like a victim. Speak like a leader. Don't describe your limitations. Declare your possibilities. Every morning, give yourself the gift of powerful language, because those words are the first bricks in the foundation of your destiny. Real and lasting change doesn't start with a to-do list. It starts with identity. You can have the best strategies in the world, but if you still see yourself as someone who isn't capable, disciplined, or worthy, those strategies will never stick. This is why identity must come before strategy. Who you believe you are on a deep emotional level determines what you do, how consistently you do it, and how you interpret challenges. When you wake up in the morning and tell yourself empowering truths about who you are becoming, you're not just saying words, you're programming your mind to operate at a higher level. You're training your subconscious to align your actions with your desired identity. Most people try to change their lives by forcing new behaviors without changing their inner story. They say, I'm going to start waking up early. I'm going to be more disciplined. Or, I'm going to work out consistently. But deep down, their identity still whispers, I'm not a morning person, or I always give up, or I'm lazy. That inner story always wins. You can't outperform your self-image. If you don't upgrade who you believe you are, your old identity will eventually sabotage your new actions. This is why morning declarations are so powerful. They give you a chance to rewrite that story every single day. Imagine two people both starting a new habit of going to the gym. One says, I'm trying to get in shape. The other says, I am an athlete. Who's more likely to follow through when motivation fades? The one who has claimed a new identity. When you identify as an athlete, you act like one, even on days you don't feel like it. When you merely try, your actions are temporary and conditional. Identity creates emotional leverage. It turns I should into I must. It moves you from wishing to becoming. Every morning you have the opportunity to declare the identity you are stepping into when you say, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am a leader, I am unstoppable. You're not pretending, you're planting seeds. At first, it might feel unnatural, even uncomfortable, because it's different from how you've identified in the past. But repetition creates reinforcement. Over time, those declarations become familiar, and eventually, they become reality. This is how people reinvent themselves, not overnight, but through daily reinforcement of a new identity until their actions and emotions align with it. This is why affirmations or declarations work best when they are identity-based rather than task-based. Saying, I will work hard today is good, but saying, I am the kind of person who gives my best in everything I do is far more powerful. The second statement speaks to who you are, not just what you'll do. Your subconscious is wired to act in alignment with your identity. If your identity is that of a high achiever, you'll naturally find ways to follow through. If your identity is that of a procrastinator, you'll unconsciously create delays and excuses to match it. This identity shift is what separates short-term motivation from long-term transformation. Motivation gets you started, but identity keeps you going. When you wake up and declare your identity, you're reminding yourself of the standard you live by. You're setting the tone for the day, saying, this is who I am and my actions will reflect that. Challenges stop feeling like obstacles and start feeling like natural parts of your growth because they are consistent with the identity of someone who grows through adversity. There's a powerful psychological principle called cognitive dissonance. It means that when your actions and your beliefs about yourself don't match, your brain becomes uncomfortable and tries to resolve the conflict. If you declare, I am disciplined, but one morning you feel like staying in bed, that dissonance kicks in and pushes you to act in alignment with your declared identity. Over time, this principle works in your favor because once your identity is strong, you'll naturally adjust your behavior to match it. It's also important to understand that identity is not fixed. You are not stuck with the identity you've had in the past. You can choose a new one, reinforce it daily, and grow into it. Many people are living inside an outdated version of themselves. They keep repeating the same internal story they told themselves years ago, not realizing that story is what's keeping them stuck. Morning declarations give you a structured way to rewrite that story intentionally. When you consistently say, I am confident, even if you weren't before, your brain begins to accept it as truth. Your physiology shifts, your behavior starts to follow. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build by identifying as a confident person first. The key is emotional intensity. You can't just whisper these identities to yourself like a checklist. You have to say them with certainty, with energy, as if your future depends on it. Because it does. When you declare your identity with emotion, your nervous system locks onto it. It becomes more than just words, it becomes a decision. And when repeated daily, those decisions carve out a new version of you. You're no longer reacting to life as who you were yesterday. You're responding as the person you're becoming. This is why Tony Robbins often emphasizes the phrase, identity is the strongest force in human psychology. People will do almost anything to stay consistent with who they believe they are. So make the conscious choice every morning to define that identity yourself rather than letting your past or your environment define it for you. Tell yourself, I am a creator. I am resilient. I am disciplined. I am a leader. Speak it until you feel it. Feel it until you believe it. Believe it until you live it. Once your identity shifts, strategies become easy. You don't have to fight with yourself to do the right things. You naturally do them because that's who you are. And that's the real power of starting your day with identity-based declarations. You're not just motivating yourself for a few hours, you're shaping the very foundation of how you think, act, and live. Motivation is not something you wait for, it's something you generate. Most people wake up hoping to feel inspired, driven, or ready to take on the day. They rely on external factors like good weather, good news, or a burst of random energy to decide their emotional state. But waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow in your favor. You can't control the wind, but you can set the sail. Emotion is created, not waited for. This is one of the most important principles for mastering your mornings in your life. The people who accomplish extraordinary things don't wake up every day feeling unstoppable. They create that feeling through intentional rituals, powerful language, and decisive action. Your emotional state determines the quality of your actions. When you're in a low energy, uncertain, or fearful state, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. But when you're in a strong, focused, high energy state, obstacles feel like opportunities. The difference is not in the world, it's in how you show up to the world. This is why it's so crucial to take charge of your emotions from the very beginning of the day. You don't wait to see how you feel, you decide how you feel. This is exactly what world-class performers do. Athletes don't wait to feel ready before a competition. Speakers don't wait to feel inspired before they step on stage. Leaders don't wait for ideal conditions before taking action. They use their bodies, their language, and their focus to generate the emotional states that lead to peak performance. Your physiology is the fastest way to shift your emotional state. Stand up right now, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, breathe deeply, and move with power. Instantly, your energy changes. Your brain and body are connected in a constant feedback loop. When you change your body, your emotions follow. This is why Tony Robbins emphasizes changing your state through movement. Jumping, clapping, power breathing, or simply standing tall. First thing in the morning, if you drag yourself out of bed slowly, head down, shoulders slouched, muttering complaints, your emotional state will reflect that. But if you get up with intention, move with energy, and take control of your physiology, you send a powerful signal to your nervous system. I'm in charge here. Language is the second tool for generating emotion. The words you use shape your emotional experience. When you say, I'm tired, your body listens. When you say, I'm excited, your body responds differently. If the first words you speak in the morning are weak or negative, they'll reinforce a low energy state. But if you start with powerful declarations, I'm alive, I'm grateful, I'm ready, today I bring energy and power, your emotions shift immediately. Language is like a switch. It can turn on power or drain it. The key is to use language consciously, not habitually. Many people speak in ways that unconsciously bring them down, not realizing they're programming their emotions. When you wake up, speak like someone who's ready to lead their life, not like someone waiting for permission to feel good. The third element is focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. If you wake up and focus on everything that's wrong, your problems, your doubts, your worries, you will naturally feel stressed and unmotivated. But if you focus on what you can control, on what's possible, on what you're grateful for, your emotional state becomes resourceful. The mind follows the direction of your focus like a camera lens. If you point it at the trash, that's all you'll see. If you point it toward opportunity and strength, that's what comes into view. This is why morning focus rituals like asking empowering questions are so powerful. Questions like, what am I excited about today? Or what can I give today? Immediately shift your emotional state from passive to active, from reactive to creative. The truth is, no one wakes up motivated every single day. Even the most successful, disciplined people have mornings where they don't feel like doing anything. The difference is they don't let their feelings dictate their actions. They use their actions to change their feelings. They've learned that emotion is a result of motion, language, and focus. If you sit around waiting for inspiration to strike, you'll spend most of your life stuck. But if you train yourself to generate emotion through physical movement, powerful language, and focused attention, you become unstoppable. You no longer need the world to be perfect for you to show up powerfully. You bring that power with you. This principle becomes especially important on difficult days. When you're tired, stressed, or facing challenges, your instinct might be to retreat and wait for the right feeling to come. But those are the moments where generating emotion matters most. By shifting your state first thing in the morning, you build emotional momentum that carries you through the day. Think about a rocket taking off. It uses the most energy at the beginning to break through gravity. Once it's in orbit, it doesn't need as much power to keep going. The same is true for your emotional state. The effort you put in during the first minutes of your day pays off for hours afterward. It's also important to note that generating emotion is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about fake positivity. It's about choosing to step into a resourceful state that allows you to deal with reality powerfully. You can acknowledge that challenges exist while still choosing to approach them from a place of strength. That's the difference between waiting for motivation and generating it. When you generate emotion, you're not denying your circumstances, you're taking control of your internal response to them. Over time, this becomes a habit. At first, it might take deliberate effort to change your physiology, language, and focus each morning. But with repetition, it becomes automatic, just like brushing your teeth. You start each day by getting into a peak state, and from that state, everything you do becomes more effective. You make better decisions. You show up with more energy. You inspire others. You handle challenges with resilience. You create momentum instead of waiting for it. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wait to feel motivated. Don't hope the day gives you energy. Stand up, move with power, speak words that ignite you, and focus your mind on what matters. Create the emotional state that will carry you forward. Because the truth is, the most successful people are not the ones who always feel motivated. They're the ones who have mastered the art of generating motivation on demand. Most people wake up and immediately let the outside world determine how they feel. They check their phones, see messages, headlines, or problems waiting for them, and their emotional state starts to mirror whatever is happening externally. If something good shows up, they feel good. If something bad shows up, they feel overwhelmed or stressed. They let circumstances become the driver of their day, which means they're constantly reacting instead of leading. But true power comes when you learn to anchor yourself in inner certainty rather than outer circumstances. Your morning is the perfect time to make that shift. Instead of allowing the external world to dictate your emotional tone, you create it from within. You decide who you are, what you stand for, and how you're going to interpret whatever comes your way. Circumstances are unpredictable. No matter how much you plan, there will always be things outside your control, unexpected problems. Other people's moods, traffic, delays, opportunities falling through, sudden challenges. If your emotional state depends on everything going perfectly, you're setting yourself up for constant frustration. But when your emotional state is anchored in your inner certainty, your values, your vision, your standards, then no matter what happens, you have the strength to respond intelligently and powerfully. This is what separates those who thrive under pressure from those who crumble. The difference isn't the circumstances, it's the meaning they give to those circumstances and the emotional foundation they've built before the day begins. Anchoring yourself in certainty is like building a strong foundation before a storm hits. If your foundation is weak, every gust of wind shakes you. But if your foundation is solid, the storms may rage, but you remain steady. Your morning affirmations and mental conditioning are how you lay that foundation. When you wake up and declare, I am in charge of my emotions, I choose my response, I bring strength and focus to whatever comes my way, you're reminding your brain that you are the source of meaning, not the victim of events. You can't control the weather, but you can control the sail. You can't control every event, but you can always control your interpretation and your reaction. This is why morning rituals are so crucial. They give you a moment of stillness and power before the noise begins. It might be through affirmations, visualization, gratitude, breathing exercises, or a powerful movement routine. The form doesn't matter as much as the intention. You're training your mind to focus on what's unshakable within you. You're reminding yourself that certainty doesn't come from perfect conditions. It comes from clarity about who you are and how you will show up. The most effective leaders don't need the world to cooperate to perform at their best. They've conditioned themselves to generate certainty regardless of external chaos. It's important to understand that circumstances don't have inherent meaning. Two people can face the exact same event and experience it completely differently based on the meaning they attach to it. One sees a setback as a sign they're not good enough. The other sees it as a challenge to grow stronger. The event is neutral. The meaning creates the experience. By anchoring yourself in certainty each morning, you're pre-deciding the meanings you'll attach to whatever happens. You're saying, no matter what comes today, I will interpret it through the lens of growth, strength, and opportunity. This gives you emotional power instead of emotional volatility. Consider how an airplane stays stable in turbulence. It doesn't avoid all turbulence. It's built to handle it. The structure, design, and preparation make it capable of flying steadily even when the air gets rough. Your morning conditioning works the same way. Life will give you turbulence. That's inevitable. But if you've built your inner structure through daily certainty rituals, you stay composed while others panic. You respond with leadership instead of reaction. You make decisions from strength rather than fear. Another powerful part of anchoring in certainty is focusing on what you can control. Every morning, remind yourself of the difference between what's inside your influence and what's not. You can't control the economy, other people's opinions, or random events. But you can control your focus, your effort, your attitude, and your actions. When you focus on what's controllable, you create a sense of power. When you obsess over what's uncontrollable, you create anxiety. This shift of focus alone can transform the way you experience your entire day. Instead of being tossed around by circumstances, you steer your mind toward meaningful action. It's also about setting emotional standards for yourself. You can decide that no matter what happens, you will bring a certain level of energy, focus, and presence to your day. This doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you refuse to give away your power to them. For example, you might decide, I will remain calm and resourceful no matter what challenges arise, or I will meet every situation with leadership and clarity. When you set these emotional standards in the morning, you're not leaving your state to chance, you're leading it. Some people might think this sounds unrealistic, as if anchoring in certainty means pretending everything is fine. It doesn't. It's not about denial, it's about control. It's about recognizing that your emotional state is your responsibility, not something the world gives or takes away. When you adopt this mindset, challenges don't weaken you. They reveal how strong your foundation really is. And the stronger your foundation becomes, the more confidently you can face bigger challenges. Over time, this practice creates emotional resilience. You stop being swayed by every little problem. You stop reacting impulsively